of us were moving through things joyfully with some joy in our step, and some of us are moving through some difficulties, and there might be some residue from something that's going on in our lives, and there might be some of us who are concerned because there's a lot to do. There's a lot of activity. And so to take a look at that and to know that we're absolutely supported by love and light in our life and by so much warmth and so many friends, and we all have a varying degree of the Christmas spirit. And so here, you sound marvelous. And I know that we're taking that with us, and that it's easy for us to get in the Christmas spirit here and to take that to go. So that's our invitation this morning, is to be here. And sometimes it helps me to be around children, because that absolutely warms my heart. And so it's a beautiful season to be with children and to be with our inner self, and to know that we all have that untouched, pure space like a child has. And to know that there's an absolute rebirth which is happening for us. So we're in a season of renewal. We're in a season of regaining our true self and realizing that, yes, there's a rebirth that is happening right here and right now. So I noticed that there's this Christ consciousness. And some people might call it the Buddha awakening. It has many names. We have many experiences of it. And so we have varying degrees of it at all times. And so I'm going to invite us to turn up the volume on that. And for me, sometimes it's like the frame around the picture. Sometimes we're so busy polishing the frame. We have all those gifts that we need to get out. We're polishing our appearance that we're going to be with family. We're polishing all these different things. So sometimes we get lost in polishing the frame. And I'm going to invite us to see the picture and to know that there's that inner being, that true picture of who we truly are. And so there's a picture much like a Monet painting. And there's so many colors. There's a beautiful spectrum of our inner place. This place of this consciousness, this loving awareness. It's a place of love. It's a place of forgiveness. It's that giving forth more of our true self. And it becomes even more fully expressed. And I see some nods of agreement, which is great. And so to not forget that, what we get to do is focus. Focus on that. And so we focus on that picture. And knowing that we have that beautiful frame around the picture, that yes, we can polish and give that to ourselves. And we can also give that to others. And I was reminded what Ralph Waldo Emerson, who I deeply love and have a deep connection to, he says that what lies behind us over here and what lies ahead of us is only a tiny matter compared to what lies within us. And so we have this inner nature of this Christ consciousness that we can bring forth and bring forward and light aglow. And so the frames of the cards and the gifts, and it's a frame for the true essence of ourself. And we remember what's vital. So we get to remember, we get to renew, and we get to regain who we are and to be rebirthed in every moment. And so there's a remembering that's happening, a remembering of our true joy in our step. We remember to have that Christ message of love and forgiveness. We know that there's a time of renewing, and we have a commitment to that. So we're renewed in our commitment this very day, this very moment, right here and right now. And it's a time also of regaining our state of being. So we attune and we come back into alignment. We regain our sense of who we truly are. And we also become that light in the world, and we may be removing some things. We may be unearthing some things. We may be moving through some things that no longer serve us into the new year. We know that there's an opening up in our recommitment, in our renewal, that we are recommitted, that we are remembering who we truly are. We're renewed, we're regaining, and there's an absolute rebirth that is happening for us. So in our heart of hearts, I know that there is coming back into ourselves. Again, we remember what lies within us. So we get to be here as a light of peace and of joy. We really are this true essence, and we are a light in the world that's awakening to its true magnificence. This is our invitation. We get to open up this gift. We get to open up the card, and then we also get to share that. And what I know is that the solstice, the winter solstice, is coming within hours. And sometimes that's the shortest and the darkest time. And we know what lies just beyond that is the light. And that, yes, it widens up, and then the days become longer, and our inspiration in this light becomes, we bring that to our daily living. We know that we have that. It's just over the hump, in a few moments. It's just that short darkness, and we know that we're moving through that. If there's some sort of revenue or something that I've been doing residue. I used to work for the LA Society of Financial Analysts, and that was so much fun. I used to go to have retreats, and I used to do a lot of work with nonprofits, and it was really great because I learned how to talk in metaphors at that time. And so what's really cool is we bring in that metaphor of the winter solstice and how, yes, sometimes days seem dark, and we get to bring forth the light. And to know that we have that which is symbolic in our life. So we take that symbolic meaning, and we have that place of renewal, and that we are renewed, and we regain, and we're refreshed, and we're rebirthing that in our life. I have one story for you, and it's from a Reader's Digest from a long, long time ago. I kind of like the Cliff's Notes version because it's practical. We have this positive, practical place where we can apply the Science of Mind, which is a guide for spiritual living. We can apply this, and we can share this. We can share and care for one another. There's a gentleman named Fred who worked at the post office. And he had a beautiful family life, and his kids would sit on his lap, and they would read, and he would tell stories, and it would warm their hearts. And there was a time just before the holiday season that they had gotten word that his son was ill. And it was just about 48 hours later that his son passed. And it was just about a year later that he was working at the post office where he had always worked, and he had this special assignment. He was the one who was like a Sherlock Holmes detective, and he would discover anything that was illegible, anything that they didn't know where it was going to go, came in this big stack. And he would sort through this big stack and figure out where things would go. And so in essence, he was a hero in this way, especially when letters came his way that said, "To Santa Claus at the North Pole." There was a letter that was addressed to Santa Claus at the North Pole, and it was open. And just prior to going to work that day, his wife was talking with him, and he says, "Hon, it's been about a year, and your daughter, Miriam, and we've gone through our grieving process, and what I have from you is still, it's a huge amount of despair. I see you being, looking at the ceiling a lot. I see you not reaching out. I see you withdrawing. I see you not participating fully in life. And what Fred did was he opened up this letter. And the letter read, "We're very sad at our house, dear Santa. I don't want you to bring me anything. My little brother went to heaven last year. All I want you to do is take my brother's toys to him. His train, his rocking horse. He really enjoyed his rocking horse. He always liked riding it. And I don't need anything. But if you could give Daddy something that would make him like he used to be. He used to tell stories. I used to sit on his lap. We used to share good times. I want him to tell me stories again. I want to read books together again, especially with the new year coming up. And I heard him say to Mommy once that only eternity could cure him. Could you give him some of that?" And he saw the name of his daughter, Miriam, at the bottom of the card. And he went home that day a new man. He was awake. It woke him up. He was what he used to be. He stepped in the door. He had joy in his step. He brought it home. He brought the joy home to his heart. He had an awakening of that Christ consciousness that is within him always. And he had this deep realization of his true self. That very night, he opened the door. He began to whistle as he came home to his family. Might have been from Sound of Music. His wife and his daughter saw him smile, and they knew Fred was back. So I invite each and every one of us to be back in the heart of our home during this beautiful season and to celebrate the joy within ourselves and with one another and to welcome this presence and to know that there's an absolute awakening in our heart as we are regaining ourselves, as we are rebirthed in this beautiful renewal of this season. So I invite us to turn within this moment and to know that there is celebration which is happening in our heart of hearts. That Spirit is everywhere present. It is this present. It is this gift. And to know it is a beautiful picture of unfoldment. It is a beautiful picture of that true, colorful self. It reveals itself as a crisp and bright image in our lives. And knowing that there is this image of the divine at all times. And it is awake, it is alive, it is aware. It is the infinite. And being filled with this infinite possibility and presence, it is this consciousness which fills our heart, our home, our friends, our family, and knowing that we come together with love, with even more peace, and with total and unbridled joy. So I'm grateful for this time together and knowing that there is absolute inspiration and peace and blessings which are happening in this beautiful season of light and love. And so be it, and so I celebrate, and so it is.